Okay, we're here for a special meeting of the City of Lawrence Board of Parks and Recreation. It's not going to be lengthy at all. We are attempting to take a fourth bite at the apple, which originally was to do multiple projects in several of our parks, to where we've reached a point under resolution number 1 of the Board of Parks and Recreation, which of course is non-binding to the council since they are the arbiters of the purse strings, but it's about the best we can do at this time in history. As you know, we've attempted through various means, through budgets, general obligation bonds, ARP funding, to fix multiple parking lots at least 2 of our parks, our veterans and community, to make our pathways ADA compliant, which they are not, out at Veterans Park, along with expanding recreational opportunities beyond the youth leagues for our adult population, with the continual repurposing at Lee Road. So after all that being said, and Tom Burns, you're right, Parks Board and the people of Lawrence who use, or we service more than Lawrence, we know that, but citizens of Lawrence and the Parks Board are currently caught between, because it's election season, and no seems to be the operative word until whoever occupies the executive branch on January 1 of next year. Hence, the public suffers over that squabble. So our last best resort, at least going through ARP money, which is conversation through the executive and the legislative branch, is to ask the council to reappropriate some ARP monies, American Rescue Plan, nothing worse than speaking in acronyms, no one knows what I'm saying, to at least fix the parking lot at Community Park. And the resolution 1 that is before me, and Sri, glad you're aboard, Sri, will explain what the design is we have in mind for reading this resolution, which is not very long. Ms. Corey Korn, Eric, myself met with Parks Committee Chair and Vice President of the Common Council, Rick Wells, last week, and I will be blunt. Appears to me no one on the council cares to help us in upgrading our parks. And this is a comment from this seat only right now.
You said he'd be here. There he is.
So I will read the resolution. Whereas in 1954, the city of Lawrence deeded 20 acres. It's hard to believe that's all it was. From the U.S. Department of Army, 5300 block of Franklin Road, to construct baseball diamonds in a general park area for Lawrence families. Since the gift in 54, the boundaries of Lawrence Community Park have expanded to encompass 150 acres, 21 full-size soccer fields, community center, at least a half dozen baseball diamonds. I added that. Concession stand, skate park, playground equipment, and a number of parking lots. The parking lot at the western edge of Community Center, Park is the marshalling area for the city's annual 4th of July celebration, parking for community events at the Lawrence Community Center, and parking for players and families of the 300-plus children that participate in the Fall Creek Softball Baseball League. Whereas this parking lot was patched and overlay of asphalt completed, tongue-in-cheek, relatively recently in 1990, I'd be embarrassed to say that, in conjunction with the construction of the Lawrence Community Center grand opening, which, Eric, is that one of the last times that was through a park or?
That was the last time anything was physically done to that.
Be embarrassed anyone in office to admit that. With the construction of the Lawrence Community Center grand opening, since that date, the parking lot has suffered water damage due to the absence of positive drainage, relying on surface drainage to remove the rain and snow melt. It is therefore resolved by the Board of Parks and Recreation, City of Lawrence, as follows. The Board of Parks and Recreation hereby requests the sum of $1,300,000 be appropriated from the ARP Fund Plan to provide for the demolition, drainage, infrastructure, and construction of a parking lot along at Lawrence Community Park, fund name 436, COVID American Relief American Rescue Plan Fund in the amount of $1.3 million. The Board of Parks Recreation hereby requests Common Council amend the art fund plan, take all other necessary steps to allow for the aforementioned appropriation. This day, 1st of February, hard to believe, February 2023. That is resolution. As I said earlier, it is non-binding. We do not have the obviously ability to fund. We're just simply asking with hat in hand that something that has not been done in 30 years be done. And with that, Shri, if you can hear me, would you walk us through what the project would look like, sir?
So, back in last summer, with the idea of getting this parking lot reconstructed, because this parking lot is in really bad shape. And the only way and the best way to fix is to reconstruct it from all the way. When I say reconstruct it, just remove all the asphalt, put storm sewers in, and put back new stones and new asphalt. Because it is degraded so much that we can't just mill and resurface it. It needs drainage. It needs full reconstruction. With that,
Shri, hang on a minute. We're going to try to improve your volume here.
Sure.
Does it relate to
Can't hear him.
knobs over there, Jeff?
I don't know. I think this is just for me.
Therese, say something.
Say anything.
Can you hear me?
Oh, what's happening is you can hear it out there better, actually.
I can hear it perfect, but I got front and center seat.
It says it's up 100%.
Mr. Rick, can you hear it?
Well, my batteries in my hearing aids were dead. I came over so I can hear
Quit.
it.
You're in this.
We're in a heck of a mess.
I'm headed that way very soon.
But yeah, it ain't fun.
Yeah, I think it's this microphone and how it's picking it. Try now, Shri.
Okay. Hey, can you hear me?
Still
Can you hear it out there?
weak.
It's louder out there.
Don't
Why don't you try to
So
see
we
if it's
move?
better? Yeah, relocate, 'cause I can hear it.
try this and see.
Okay. Can I
ahead,
continue?
I can't hear you.
Wait a minute, we're doing a test here.
Okay.
Okay, try again.
Try again, Shri, say something.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Sounds too much better to me.
Coming right out from this speaker.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Keep saying hello.
Hello. I
is
can
how
only. I think I'm reaching my threshold with my sound. So.
Okay, I'm gonna let my
Hello?
couple of board members relocate here so you can hear you.
I'm okay.
Are you good?
Okay.
All right, continue, sir.
So with that in mind, back in late summer, we started the design of this parking lot. The plan is the plan that we came up was to reconstruct the parking lot, the north parking lot.
Right.
The south parking lot, if you know the park, there are 3 driveways. There is a southmost drive, and there is a middle drive, and there is a northmost drive.
Right.
So there is a parking lot, like a V-shaped parking lot, which is a south parking lot, and a drive that comes to that. And there has been concerns about, people parking at random times, and it's been a safety issue with a lot of illegal activities happening in that corner parking lot, which is so with that in mind, we kind of decided that as part of the reconstruction, we will eliminate that parking area and make it a grass, we will seed it and make it as a landscape area, which means that we can still open it up for parking for events, because we all we do on other areas. So we came up with the design. We finished the design in October of last year. With the intention that with the hope that we're gonna get funded through GeoBond or ARP. We put this project out for bid back in I think late October, early November. We got the bids back in December last year. I think if I remember right, let me see. I think we got 4 we got bids from 3 companies, Baumgartner, Midwest Paving, and Calumet. They all bid on the project, and it came in, the lowest bidder was Baumgartner. They came in little under $900,000 to reconstruct that parking lot on the north, and then they remove the parking lot from the south and make it as a landscape. The plan also included constructing new islands, for the drive, for the parking areas, like you will have. So I think 3 sets of parking rows with islands, with conduits in for future lighting if we need to.
Right.
Restriping it to make sure it's ADA compliant, like we do on any other project. So, like I said, the project has been bid out. We got the bids back from Baumgartner, from these contractors, and Baumgartner, we did the review, and we found that Baumgartner is the lowest responsible bidder. And that's when the GEO bond fell through, and the council repealed the GEO bond, and we were stuck with no funds. So the next option was to request ARPA money, because we have this bid, we have this contractor ready to get going, and we need to get going on this ASAP so we can open the park back for July 4th. Otherwise, if we delay it any further, it's going to extend the construction time further out, and the park won't be open and ready for the July 4th celebrations. So all along our plan was to get it done during, do the drainage work during winter, and then paving in May. So the park is open sometime mid-June. So, but now the issue is we are delivering, we don't have the GEO bonds, and if we don't get the ARPA money, this month, contractor probably might walk away from the project, or they're going to ask for additional money, because by contract we have to issue them a purchase order within 60 days, which will be over by early February. But I worked with them; they are willing to hold off until the end of February. And they'll keep the same prices, but after that they can either walk away from the project, or they can ask for additional money and additional time. So I think we are like kind of in that position right now that we need this funds available ASAP. If we end up not getting the funds, and if you try to push it out to another next year or whenever, like further down the line, the price will go up. We already have contractors already know the last time we bid is 900. So next time they're going to jack the price up, and in every year it's going to be higher and higher. So we might pay 1.1 million next year to do the same project. So that's where we are.
Okay, real quick, and Rick, you, Eric, did a nice job, and I want to say thank you, discussing the scope of what this parking lot could look like. And you addressed your concern about potentially losing parking spots and the like. My question, now this is out of pure ignorance for me up here. I can be ignorant, I don't need help. From the look of these drawings, and Eric, Rick, Sri, I see, are we going to still keep with the 3 entrances, correct?
No, we will not. The current project plan includes, like I said, removing the south parking lot and
Right.
removing that entrance, southern entrance. So there will be that middle big entrance and the larger entrance,
Right.
and the north entrance, which is the Harmon Way. So there won't
Got
be the south entrance.
Got it. That, and I kind of a leading question. I did that on purpose to get clarification and the like. Sri, hang in there. Rick, if you would you, and you, like I said, thank you. And you and Eric debated your concern that you had under this proposed configuration that you had possibly with this design of the parking lot. Yeah, go ahead. Come up here, please, sir.
Yeah, if I could, excuse me. Those who may not know me, I'm Rick Wells, City Council for District 2. And this was brought to my attention the, the parking lot being repaved, and I was under the impression, when this was first brought to us, I think back in 2021 for the 2022 budget, that we're just going to repave the parking lot. And back then, my understanding, it was going to be $100,000. And the council approved that. And of course, the parking lot didn't get paved, and we were told that the money was spent for engineering costs. So then they come back, the administration, and they wanted right at $1 million. And because of apparently some drainage issues or what have you, I'm not an engineer, but at any rate, I find that they're going to do away with the complete south parking lot for this, additional money. In our meeting, I was told, well, this is only going to be like 15 parking lots, or 15 parking spaces.
Yeah.
So I went over, I thought, I disagree. I grew up in Laurel. I grew up in Harrison Park and spent a lot of time in that park. And I went over there and counted the parking spaces for for cars. Now, I will say, or will admit, looks to me whoever painted them was painting them for use of some smaller vehicles. Like my truck would probably not fit in one of them parking spaces. But I counted 78 parking spaces in that south parking lot. I counted in the north parking lot, which was the main lot, and this is the way it's painted right now.
Right.
I'm sure this is going to change when the curbs and stuff get put in. But I counted 175 parking spaces. My concern is, we've all been in that park on 4th of July. We've been in there when they've had, a lot of kids in there playing ball. That parking lot fills up quickly, especially if you have some event with, the kids playing ball and then somebody leasing, that park building. With the Starrett building no longer available to be leased, that park building's going to be leased a lot more than what it had been in the past. I think we can foresee that coming. I don't, for the life of me, understand why exactly we're blocking the south entrance. I was told it was because of a safety concern, because speeders come through there. My first thought was speed bumps. My second thought was just put a gate on the south entrance, because that is narrow. I mean, the north would be the north side is, they park parallel to the parking lot, and on the south side next to the diamonds, they pull in. And doesn't leave a lot of space down in the middle. So if that configuration is to stay, then if you block off that south end, you're going to have people trying to come in from the main lot, coming into the south lot, and then trying to get out. It's just, someone's going to have to back up. And to me, it's just illogical. But I was also told that the other concern was we needed a green space. I mean, to me, I think our parks people have more than enough grass to mow as it is. I don't know why we would need more grass to mow. I think we need more parking. We're at $1.3 million now, and I was told yesterday by Corey that the south end is now being considered in that $1.3 million, but just a part of it. And this drawing that I got here doesn't really explain the part of it. I see the trail, but the trail is what I was told they were going to do all along.
Okay, real quick, we'll get to that.
Craig,
Wait a minute, everybody, wait a minute. Everybody breathe.
Just so you know, we did not have time to have new drawings done.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that is why you'll see.
So,
Wait a minute, Sri.
so Corey, I'm going to have Jeff talk about it, but I can address every single one of Rick's concern. Okay, I think there is some misinformation that I mean I don't know where Rick got that from, but there are information that I can share with them and to the board and explain every single one of those concerns. So I'll let Jeff answer or talk what he wants to talk, and I'll talk after that.
Okay, Eric, real quick, and I'll get to that. The reasoning for, because you've been around that park 1983, what would be the reasoning from it to get rid of the all of the south end parking lot, in your eyes, professionally speaking? And I'm asking for a pro or con. I go, what would be good reasoning?
I would like to see a hybrid. I personally would. Some parking there if available, with proper design. Problem is, without Shree's design work, we're just creating.
It's guesswork.
Yeah, we're just creating.
So Jeff, I can
Go
answer
ahead.
that question too when it gets to there. So let's talk to what Rick mentioned first time about when we went to the council last year and talked about $100,000. So that is incorrect. We never went to the council saying that it's only going to take $100,000 to resurface the park. We went to the council with an appropriation of over $1 million at that time too, to say that this because I was the one who put together the estimate then, and I put together the estimate now. So the first time that we presented this to the council was over $1 million. But at that time, we did not have the design started on it. We didn't, and the questions came out saying, hey, if we don't design it, can it be built last year? And the answer was no, we haven't not started the design. So what we did was we used some inside funds that we could find to fund the design. So all along the project was estimated to cost $1 million. There is no way even a repaving would not work on this park. Because the park is not anymore. Like Jeff, like you said, it's been 30 plus years. It's been done. There is no way a construction equipment the parking lot can handle any piece of construction equipment. So all along we have set aside $1.1 million for this project.
So in
But then we.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute,
So when
so
then
1990, how much did you think? What would have been an estimate to pave that lot?
I don't know. It was done with out of probably street.
Jeff, an asphalt parking lot without maintenance, it will not last more than 15 years.
Correct.
This park has lasted over 30 years with no maintenance, if that explains something, right? With no drainage and no maintenance, it's over 30 years. So it is time to reconstruct the parking lot. And so we went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, let's find some local inside design money, and we funded the design. We didn't come back to the council for design appropriation. We said, okay, we'll figure out some money, we'll do the design, which we did. We bid the project out as we were supposed to, and we got 3 bids. And fortunately, we got really good bids. We got bids under $900,000. So now, what you see the 1.3 million is based on our conversations with Rick the last week and a half, because he has expressed interest to see part of the south parking lot back in, and I said, okay, we can definitely add that back in. It's a change order. We have a contractor ready. We can issue a change order as a different design, add some more design, and add that in. But what we need to understand is that south parking lot, as it is designed, as it is now, is not standard. It's now, when it is going to be redesigned, you will not have that weird shaped parking lot. It will be a nice rectangular parking lot, and we will not have 70 parking spaces, because if you go towards the southern end, it's a tapered parking lot. It's not standard. When we redesign something, we have to build it to the standards. Okay. Standard parking lot width, standard drive approaches, standard driveways, standard parking ways. So that's how it's going to be. We can add the southern parking lot back, but it will not be this long. It will have to be like nice rectangle where people can come in and come out and park in the right standard spaces.
Okay.
So it might not have 70 spaces. It might only have 30 or 35 spaces. Again, I haven't. The reason why I haven't put that in design is I don't want to spend any more design money to come up with the design of this if I'm not going to get money for construction, right? We have already spent $70,000 on design to design this, so we can add the other design if the money is there. It's just a few weeks of time, but I don't want to spend that extra money without knowing that we're gonna get this parking lot done.
Mr.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. In our conversation, the meeting we had with Sri and Corey, and I think Mr. Hennigan was there, and you, and Eric, we were all there.
Yeah, that's right. Jeez, oh, Pete.
There was a lot of haggling, going on, because for the life of me, I think that less parking in that park is a mistake. I guess, we haggled back and forth, we argued back and forth. And then I suggested, or I asked, why wasn't this plan, why wasn't this brought before this board before it got to the council for approval for money? I mean, why are we doing this after the fact? Was a question that, and that's the reason that I asked that this meeting be brought. That because, one council person and then the administration is never going to agree. So therefore, this is the purpose of this park board. You guys are the ones to make the decisions on the behalf of what happens to our parks. And I think that, in all fairness, before $100,000 or whatever was spent on this engineering, the concept should have been brought forth to this board and agreed upon, and then go forward with it. To me, you're putting the cart before the horse. And this is a really expensive cart. And that's one of the things that concerns me. One thing I would ask is, in this new concept of the additional $300,000 to accommodate the south parking lot, but it's going to be restricted, or it's going to be downsized by how much? Currently, we're at 78 parking spaces available right now. So how much do we project? Are we going to go down to that 15-car number? I mean, what is the number going to be?
Rick, I do not know. It has to be put in paper. Again, like I said, just because somebody striped it 6 feet wide doesn't mean that we can go back and stripe a parking space for 6 feet. When we stripe 9 feet and when we put actually driving aisles 24 feet wide for people to back up and come back down, which is what the standard says, it might be down to 40 parking spaces, Rick. But I've been telling you and the board is we can make those changes. We have a contractor, and it won't affect the schedule. And we can make that changes right now. That's the whole reason why 1.3 million has been added, because I estimated based on the prices we got from the contractor, how much it's going to reconstruct the south parking lot. Approximately, and I can guarantee you it's not going to be 70 parking spaces back. It's going to be less than that. It's going to be 40 or 45 parking spaces when we do it right.
It's better than none. That's going to see the hybrid. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Tom.
Why did we redesign it anyway? What was the original purpose?
Well, primarily to get the drainage. We had to,
On the south parking lot?
on the,
Okay, I'm just talking specifically about the south parking lot now.
well,
Why were we redesigning it and making that whatever we're making it?
Fewer spots, yeah.
just for simplicity, to get the vehicles away from the diamonds because of the possible car and children interaction, to move.
Have we ever had a problem?
Well,
Is it a solution in search of a problem? Go ahead.
Part of it is how that, as Sheree was mentioning, how it narrows as it goes
That
to
it
the
does.
far south piece of it. Also, because of that and the length, it kind of can become people go in there very quickly, whip in there, and
That is-
some of the speed and the length they can get. So it was eliminating that third entry was one of the reasons. The part where it was too narrow, and that's why Shri is saying that when we design it, and work with those engineers with the standards, we might lose some of those spaces, but we were getting rid of all of it because of its strange configuration, and part was drainage. So there were multiple facets that went into that original piece. We certainly listened to Rick when he came and we started talking about that and appreciated that feedback. And so that's where, as I think the best word there that Eric used was called it a hybrid design. So as Shri mentioned, we don't want to invest any more money until we know have the funding to get that additional new redesign, but it's just hard to say how far back. Those are the main reasons, those three reasons why we initially eliminated that south lot.
And when we did the survey for design for all this, we have all the information. Like I said, it won't take more than like 3 weeks to redesign, to add that back into there. It's not even a redesign. It's basically, we have the information. It just has to be put in paper with the right dimensions to make that happen. So that's pretty much it. And, I can have the designer go back and do it if that's what, but again, we don't even know if we have the money to do 1.1 million, 900,000. So that is what, we don't even have the money to do the $900,000 version. So let alone we are adding another $300,000. That's why I haven't started any of that work yet.
All right. Thank you, Shri. A couple things before we wrap up here, and I want this to go on the record. Rick, I completely concur with you. I'm in favor of redesigning the parking lot. I know it needs at least $1 million worth of work for this alt to work and really last 30 or 40 years out. But I agree with you, Rick. This design needed to come before this board. It's okay, guys, that this was done. It needed to be formally presented to this board. We do not micromanage. That's not our job here. But we do have to put the stamp on, we are appointed by the administration to fill out these jobs. But it's the Parks Board, unlike other boards, other than the Common Council. The only difference between the Common Council and the Parks Board, we can't directly appropriate money, which is very powerful, but that's our only difference that we have. We can ask for bonding and all of that, but I concur 100%. Any projects that the council or the administration wish to pursue, it's great that they're pursuing them. It needs to come before this board for us to allow input. We may agree or disagree, but to have this give and take, which I think at the end makes it an even better project. Like I said, I like the hybrid. I personally don't want to put 78 more parking spots in there, but if we could get back 38 parking spots and some of your ideas, gating it off, there are ways to make the design work where everybody gets 70% of what they want. That's the key. Now, the bottom line, and this is where we'll wrap up, I'll put the resolution up for a vote. And this is where I wholeheartedly going to ask for Mr. Wells' support. Tom?
What's the purpose of the islands?
Again, to reduce speed, to help with driving direction. So
the idea is to give it background scale. When you go into a blacktop, I know enough to be dangerous from racing. That's why in racing on a road course, they'll put in the term chicane. It breaks it up, but in a parking lot design, the idea if it's a straight blacktop surface, you put in a grayish, whitish medium in there, it is a point of reference.
And it's also an effort to reduce
which in turn gets your attention, you slow down.
reduce the.
Yeah, you're right, Jeff. It's basically just a way to streamline parking spaces, reduce people cutting through, and just make it, make a kind of a nice flow in the parking.
Have you ever go to a big mall parking lot? Go to Meijer. They have now they just have light poles. And I'm come and arrest me. I drive across the parking lot to get to the spot that I want. Islands are designed, insurance companies love islands because it keeps idiots like me from driving across a parking lot so I can beat Rick to the parking spot at Meyer, wherever the heck we're going.
I'm pretty quick.
Well, that's going to say you and I are going to run over each other. So with that said, I'm going to put the proposal up, resolution up. What this board needs from Rick Welch and everybody else in the Common Council. Like I said, if you saw our politics up here are as bizarre and wide range. But the one thing we all do share in common is this is just one piece of a long list of parks needs. We're not asking to add anything, nothing new in our parks right now. We've got to get the trails out at Veterans Park. We're not compliant. They got some parking lot needs that need to be addressed. Both the front and back. I call it the FC Pride and the Fall Creek Little League. Those are reference points. Parking lots have got to be addressed. These are not cute add-ons. These are drop dead have to have. Because I met with Brad Klopfenstein yesterday. Corey, remember when they said our busiest day of the year last year was that last Saturday in April. Why? The traffic study of 56th Street. Why? Because it was opening day for Fall Creek Little League, and FC Pride was having one of their big tournaments in the back. And driving on our parking lots in Community Park, you feel like you're Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong, and you're on the moon. And we complain and yada yada about streets. Okay, that shouldn't be what our parking lots are.
Did we talk to Fall Creek Little League about any of this?
We have, yeah. And just to let the board know, we still have the funds earmarked in the general budget for the lighting for the baseball field up front and the scoreboard installation and the PA system that we've promised them for the last 2 seasons. So that's still in the general budget.
And I'm sure if we were fortunate enough to go forward with a parking project, it's not a choice. It has to happen. We would have to work with Fall Creek Little League. I mean, they've worked around us since we've relocated them, and I know they're feeling like the forgotten child.
And we've kind of bounced them around a little bit.
Yeah, but I know I'm going to have a phone conversation directly with Will and Kevin tomorrow myself, just to let them know what projects we definitely can get in the pipeline and maybe the prospects of getting the parking lot fixed, and that will directly involve them in their season going forward.
Have they given us any input about the south parking lot?
Them, no.
Because they're going to be affected by that.
Well, that's one of those phone conversations where I agree with Shree.
Have their input. I don't know how we can move forward here.
But I agree with Shree. We can still, if we don't get the money, we're not doing anything regardless.
Well, that's true.
I think that's point one. We can definitely, if we knew for sure we were getting money, the first conversation I'm having on Tuesday, February 7th, is with Shree, Fall Creek Little League, and Eric on how we need to massage, and Rick, to massage that south parking lot to address any of their concerns.
That would be very good.
And I think everybody is probably going to want more parking, but you still have to meet the standards. I mean, if the spaces aren't wide enough, they're not wide enough. You've got to redo
I
them.
mean, I understand that part, but it does affect them, and I think they ought to at least have some input into this. So I don't see how we can move any place right now.
Well, the only thing I'm asking for is to get $1.3 million.
Okay, what's the extra 300,000 for? Is it for the
Shree,
green space?
can you address that, Shree? What's the
No,
extra 300,000?
So we want, I mean, after talking to Rick and hearing his concerns, I came up with the goal is to bring the south parking lot back. And that is going to cost us another close to $300,000 to just bring that south parking lot back to standards, and maybe even add that extra drive if Eric thinks that's needed. Putting all that back in, putting any more drainage in that area. That's $300,000 is for that.
Okay, now it makes a little more sense.
Okay, thank you, Sri.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Wells,
Yeah.
talk to me.
I may, and I'll make it very brief. I just wanted to tell the board that I think there's been some misunderstanding with the board and the council. And one thing that I have advocated for everybody is communication. And I think that part of our problem is we don't communicate nearly enough. And there is an issue, and I'm not going to get into it, with the budget, and the council is concerned as to where the finances of the city are. I will say this, I believe everybody on that council, and especially I know for myself, you know, the parks are near and dear to me. I mean, I grew up Harrison Park, as I said, played Army in them woods, you know, to the north. I mean, it's rode bicycle along there every day, and spent a lot of time in that park. You know, I don't want to see anything detrimental to it. I want to see it to be taken care of, to be enjoyed by all of our citizens and the future generations. But you have to respect the fact that the council is trying to fulfill their obligation to the people that put us into these chairs up here. And until we're comfortable that we can afford what's being asked of us, then, you know, we just have to be sure. And if there was a misunderstanding with Sri and the administration on the previous $100,000, my understanding at the time was that's what it was going to take to pave the parking lot. And if it wasn't, then, you know, that was on me. But anyway, but when we thought we had it, we had no problem with approving it. And because we wanted to see it get done. I want to see it get done too. I want to see it get done, you know, as much or maybe as more as you guys do. But we just got to make sure that we can afford it. But with that said, thank you.
Wells. With that being said, we have before us Resolution 1, 2003, which if I don't change glasses, I won't be able to read it. Resolution, the City Board of Parks Recreation requested the Lawrence Common Council appropriate from the ARP Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund in 2023 to upgrade the infrastructure at Lawrence Community Park. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry, forgot comment. Comments, sorry.
I just don't see why we're moving forward on this. The council has to get their act together, and the mayor has to get with the council, and everybody's got to get their act together. I think we're going to get caught in the middle.
We're caught in the middle regardless.
Well, we're going to get caught in the middle because, you know, we're here. We are asking for money. They don't know whether they've got the money or not.
This is ARP money.
Well, do they have it?
Yes.
Is it
We
there?
have the money.
And it doesn't
The city of
affect-
Indianapolis.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Does it affect police, fire, or streets?
No,
That's a firm no.
that is a firm no.
So nothing would
We-
be affected in their funding and all.
Sri?
We have little over $7 million sitting in the bank that we are trying to spend it on. It's mostly should be spent on one-time expenses like this. And there is, after this, if it is ever approved, we will still have close to $6 million still sitting there for other projects. And right now the plan, includes some money for resurfacing. But again, this is not affecting any other departments by giving parks 1.3 million.
And it has
Because
to
there
be
is a lot of-
appropriated by when? Go ahead.
It has to be appropriated by next year, if I am right.
We're in election year.
So we still have a year. So that's why, if the council, we will still have more than $5 million sitting there, even if after this is approved. So it's not like we're going to fully drain this ARP money, which has to be spent by, appropriated by next year, no matter what.
Ms. Corey?
I'd like to read a quote from Chris Wheeler, the council's attorney, from an email I received to her today, and why I think it's and so this will help explain why I think it's important that we move forward to make a decision on this resolution. She explained some of what Councilor Wells explained there, and then went on and said, that said, I specifically asked Corey, because we were going back and forth on a few things, to let us know if any of the expenditures that are time-sensitive nature, for example, the existing grant matches, or I see this as time-sensitive because the prices may go up again, and the administration can explain to the council why the existing 2023 budget cannot fund these necessary expenditures, so that we can revisit the issue. So basically, if I explain this and I go to her and send this back in, this information in, which I am doing this evening, it may be considered and hopefully can get added to the agenda. There's a lot of ifs there, but she does, just so I can read again, I specifically asked Corey to let us know if any of these expenditures are of a time-sensitive nature, for example, the existing grant matches, and the administration can explain to the council why the existing 2023 budget cannot fund these necessary expenditures so we can revisit the issue. I did not get a timing on it, but I want to keep pushing to hopefully get an amended agenda for the February 6th meeting.
Like I said, this is ARP money. Indianapolis has dedicated $40 million of ARP money to their parks. We're asking for one. We didn't get any from the first round of recovery money. Thank you, Indianapolis.
And we worked with the controller, Tyler, and he knows what money is. If he knows that it has to be spent on something else, he wouldn't be approving us to spend this on the parks anyways. So this is all going through the financial thing that he makes sure that none of this money is not needed for anything else. So that's how he signed off on those solutions.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody's input.
Can I ask
Rick, wait a minute. I'm going around the middle. I'm going to start
Can
with
I
you.
ask Councilor Wells about it?
Yeah, come on up, Rick. It's a good conversation.
Yes, sir.
Well, comment on whether the money's there or not.
I'm sorry?
Comment on whether the money is there,
You took my question.
I think I understand, but I'm not sure.
Well, to my understanding, it is, but I really am not sure how in depth that I can get into it publicly, because the attorneys are all involved in it.
The ARP money, strictly the ARP money, none of the other budget
The
stuff.
ARP money is still city money per se.
It's
Understanding,
unencumbered.
yes, the ARP money is there. My understanding is the ARP money can be used for infrastructure.
One time.
And so is there any other issues that we need to pay with that ARP money? We don't know. And because we're not sure where we're at right now, we're trying to get a handle on it with the finances of the city. I know the attorneys and the administration are now meeting to work this out. And right now, it's a little early to tell you. I don't really know. The purpose of this meeting tonight, my understanding, and when we were all talking about this, was mainly for you guys to weigh in on, yes, you need to approve it. You need to approve, this whole thing, the financials of it. But also, I wanted you to vote, or I was hoping that you would vote on this other $300,000 and on this south parking lot. Are you guys okay with it the way it is? Are you, wanting the south entrance completely blocked off? Are you wanting a green space in the south parking lot instead of south parking lot, you know, it's, like I said earlier, you know, so much has been done, without you all being able to weigh in on it in the beginning. To me, this would have just been a lot simpler if this would have been brought before this board. And all this could have been hashed out before we spent all this money on engineering to find out that, you know, this, are you doing this really? You know, I mean, it's just like, I don't understand why you're doing this, you know, kind of thing. So, but as far as the ARP money, I really can't tell you right now. I really don't know.
Come back up to the south parking lot again. We're gonna have a paved south parking lot, but it'll look different.
Go ahead, Sri. If we
So-
were to get
so let me
1.3 and we got some sort of massaging of the south parking lot, what would that look like? Go.
Correct. So let me go back to why we wasted. We didn't waste any money on design, all right? We just didn't design that parking lot. So the design we have done is not going to waste by adding the south parking lot. It's just a matter of changing some lines and making it look like asphalt, not grass. We just didn't do the design, you know? So that's all it is. So if we would have added the design, then yeah, but we did not have to change anything what we designed right now to add that back in. It's just adding it back in. You know, so I want to clarify that when Rick said, oh, we spent all this money on design. Yeah, we did spend money on design of the north parking lot. We did not design the south parking lot. And we can do it much easier because we have the information for survey information to do that. And then to answer your question, Jeff, yes, it will look little different because when we build it to standards, it won't look like a tapered section. It will be like a rectangular parking lot with, right sizes of parking area, parking spaces, drive aisles, 20 feet wide. So it might look like a clean-cut rectangle parking lot with another drive going to the south if that's what the board wants. Because when we redesign it, we need to design it to standards. So that may bring it down to 40 parking spaces. I don't know off the top of my head how many exactly will go there, but I'm thinking it's definitely going to be around 30 to 40 parking spaces back there.
So the bottom line is some aspect, but under a new design, a new look, the south parking lot can continue to exist, correct?
Correct, because again, these were built back in those days with nothing. I mean, I don't know how anybody would have built it in the first place with a tapered section like that. So now is the time to clean it up and make it look like an actual parking lot, usable parking lot with the right driveways, you know?
Will there be an entrance at the south end?
Do we still,
If that's what the board wants, we can put an entrance on the south side. If that's,
It will be?
again, the $300,000 is based on all that, based on the redesign of the south parking lot and putting that entrance back in.
after seeing a redesign, the bottom line is you got to get the money appropriated first. And then, like I said, if we want an aspect of like you said, a real parking lot, especially at the south end, our 2 cents, actually, no offense to anybody sitting in this room, our input's worth a quarter. But yes, we can tweak this so we do have some sort of a south end that is safe and, as you said, Sri, looks like a parking lot.
Correct. So on the 1.3 million, it does include all that. Because if you look at it, the actual bid price is close to $900,000, but that does not include construction administration. And that's why it's going to cost around $1 million with what we have now. So adding the south parking lot with a new entrance and everything, we'd add up the 300,000. So that's why you see the 1.3.
Got it.
So at some point, we would get a redesign, or at least a recommendation about whether there's
Yeah.
an entrance, or whether we're gonna block
Go
it
ahead.
off at some point, or.
I would like to hear from our police department also about safety issues or road construction, just to give us some more information. I'm just going by
Oh yeah, what they hear. The bottom line, if something bad happens, they're gonna wonder why this happened.
Safety first.
Yeah.
do we need 3? I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. I'm going to rely on Eric and police. Again, designing it is not a big deal. We already have the survey. We did not design it, so we are not going to change anything that's already designed. Nothing is changing. We are just adding the design because it's a separate parking lot. We are just adding it back into the construction.
Okay. And about is there an asphalt walking path there, which we probably don't need?
It is an asphalt, yes.
You mean in this design?
This design
In
here,
this design, there was a walkway, yes.
But we really don't need that.
Wouldn't if, you might, again, it depends on what.
We
the-
don't need it now, so, I mean, there's plenty of walking paths over there that,
Right.
for people, so I don't,
It's just,
I'd be the one that would use it the most, probably.
yeah, it's just connecting that.
Good point.
If it wasn't,
Yeah, I
back
understand.
parking.
I just want to make sure that's not included in the design, because I
Correct.
don't think it's necessary.
That's a good point. Yep, that is a good point.
Yeah, it's asphalt to the end,
Yeah, it's,
Got it.
you don't need the path.
all that way.
Yeah, it was proposed in the
Yeah,
design.
yeah, if you're going to make a green space, maybe it makes sense, but it doesn't make
You're
it
not going to? Correct.
anyway. So,
All right, any other comments, questions concerning Resolution 1?
yeah, I don't mind asking for it as long as the understanding is that I don't want to get us in the way of.
Oh, I don't wanna get-
That's not the purpose of this. It does need to be done. It's just a matter of when the money is available to do it. Clear to everybody.
At this pace, comments from the chair, in a non-election year, it'll be available?
Yeah.
Or are we going to wait another 30 years to fix it?
Well, I don't want to wait 30 years. I mean, we've been asking for this for years, and I've always been in favor of it.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt in my mind that it needs to be done, but I don't want it to be a political football.
Oh, it is anyway.
It will be anyway, but I
It
don't
is
want it
already.
any more than necessary. So I think it ought to be clear to the council about what we're asking for, and clear to the mayor what we're asking for.
Correct, that's the key
Understand all
thing.
this stuff.
With the key stakeholders are Fall Creek Little League and the general safety of the community that use that lot. Let's face it,
That would be the case.
those are the big two.
And, and then all the other events that happen over there too,
Right.
because there's lots of other, hopefully at some point, we're going to maybe make an upgrade or two on the community building over there, and,
Especially on the exterior part. Interior, it looks spectacular.
okay. So,
I agree wholeheartedly.
okay.
Hopefully, we can get everyone's attention. All right, with that being said, we have a motion and a second. All of those in favor of resolution number 1, 2023, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
But you have to do roll call vote on
She hasn't taken her oath. So, with that being said, Mr. Wells, this is, like you said, lack of communication, but it's called good conversation. And
It'll get better.
it doesn't, that's all it takes. I like to argue, fist bump, the whole 9 yards, but at the end of the day, you still gotta come up with an answer.
I'm depending on Councilor Wells to communicate our,
Just,
I'm depending on
You're
the
as bad as I
Councilor
am.
Wells to communicate our, at least my feelings
am.
about this whole thing.
I am. Like I said, the parks are near and dear to me, as they were to my sister, and everybody remembers her.
Yep.
I got a legacy to carry on, so,
You do.
to keep these parks, keep them going for the next generation. And I appreciate you guys coming to this, because
Thank you.
I really valued your opinion on this.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Shriek, Ms. Puckett. With that being said, we're adjourned.